That's what I believe. You don't know much about me. I'm not one of those people that believes you're supposed to go to your garden and chant, there's no weeds, there's no weeds, there's no weeds, there's no weeds. There's weeds right there. Right? That's what I believe. Here's what I believe. I believe that if you really want to be effective, you got to tell the truth. Right? You can't say there's no weeds, there's no weeds, there's no weeds, and there's weeds right there. You got to tell the truth. In fact, there's 3 mandates of leadership, if you want to jot them down, that may be the foundation of everything that I believe, and I hope that you will see as something that's useful for your own life to remember, because it's so fundamental. By the way, tonight we're going to start with some really basic fundamentals. Common sense. But you know what I've noticed? How many of you notice that common sense is not too common? Right? It's like, oh yeah, I know that. People tell me all the time, oh yeah, I know that kind of stuff. You know it? Are you doing it? If you're not doing it, you don't know it. You understand it, you have awareness, you can mumble it, but if you're not doing it, you don't know it. And repetition gets it into your body and makes that happen. So the first mandate to leadership is not just to be positive. The first mandate to leadership is see it as it is, but not worse than it is. The first secret to be an effective leader in your life, whether it's you want to lead your body from the location it is right now you're unhappy about, you don't have the energy you want, your body's not where it wants, to where you want to be, that's leadership. You want to transform your business, that's leadership. Your income, that's leadership. You want to help your children, that's leadership. You're going to be a leader, step number 1, tell the truth. See as it really is, but don't make it worse than it is so you have an excuse not to try. Because isn't this what most people do? In America now, since 9/11, there has been a psychological shift in a large number of people in this population. And what is that shift? Well, interestingly enough, people seem to not want to get too excited because there's a part of them protecting themselves saying, yeah, but the whole thing could change overnight. How many know people or feel that's really true around you? Raise your hand, I'll be curious to see. Yeah, the majority of you. It's almost like we got this little level on it. Like even the economy's going well, it's going well, but you know, something could happen. Something could always have happened. I mean, it's a horrible experience that 9/11 happened. I mean, 3,000 human beings died. Mothers, brothers, sisters, children, business people, people in the building. But you know what? 4,000 people die a day of cancer and heart disease, and no one's paying attention to that. When I say no one, to be fair, lots of doctors and people are, but it's not the focus of the news every night. And most of you aren't living in total fear every moment. You're not changing your life massively to deal with that, which would probably be something you'd have more control over. 4,000 a day. We're a fickle culture. Whatever we focus on, we feel and think it's real. Instead of realizing, if you're a leader, you must control your focus. See it as it is, but don't see it worse than it is so you don't have a reason to try. People all the time say things to me, they'll say, well, I'm skeptical, I'm pessimistic about this stuff. Prove it to me, I'm skeptical. I say, you're not skeptical, you're not pessimistic, you're gutless. Because what guts does it take to be skeptical and say it's not gonna work? What risk are you taking then? Big deal, it works, right? You're a breakthrough, right? It's like a critic, somebody works their tail off, you read a review, somebody spent 10 years and $100 million to make a film and it's been their entire passion in life, and a reviewer who's never made any film in their entire life, couldn't do it, sits out this giant critique about whether it's good or bad that affects the people who can get there or not. Anybody can be a critic. That takes no guts and there's no leadership in it. What takes guts is to put yourself on the line. What takes guts is to say, I'm gonna make this work. What takes guts is to say, I'm gonna believe, knowing I could be disappointed or devastated. But you know what? Disappointment's a good emotion if you learn how to use it. If you're emotionally fit, disappointment doesn't devastate you, it drives you. You convert it into drive to make something better, stronger, more. But when you're emotionally weak, then of course it just destroys you. So we protect ourselves and don't get our hopes up. If you want to have the best time of your life, if you want this weekend to change your life, step number 1, commit to yourself. You're not going to see it worse than it is. You're not going to let the hypnosis of the culture take you over. That in fact, maybe you'll be a different force for, hey guys, that's true, and have you looked at this? That's the job of a leader. So step 1, see it as it is, but not worse than it is, so you don't have to try. Step 2, anybody can see it as it is and maybe be honest, but here's the real secret. Can you come up with a vision? Step 2 is see it better than it is. That's part of what we're gonna do this weekend. Seeing it as it is, you gotta be honest. You can't say things like, people use language to soften things. They go, well, I'm big boned. No, you're frickin' fat. I mean, come on. Big boned, you have no disappointment, pain to do anything about it, right? I mean, this weekend, one of the things we wanna do is be honest. And there's not anybody in this room, including me, doesn't have areas of their life that can be made better. But if we can figure out what they are and tell ourselves the truth, regardless of what other people think, then we got a chance to make a change. I learned something from General Schwarzkopf, one of the best leaders I've ever met. I got a chance to spend quite a bit of time with him over the years. And he said to me, Tony, I'll tell you the secret to leadership. He said, the whole secret to your life, for any group, any individual, is no individual, no organization can get better till they can admit something's wrong. And so you know what the problem is? No one wants things to be wrong, so we compare ourselves to others who are doing better than so we can feel really good. He told me about a particular group he took over early in his career, and they had like, I forgot the exact number, a 96% ratio of success. The equipment they were making was working 95, 96% of the time. It was one of the highest in the entire United States Army. So when he took over, everybody was telling him these statistics, and he went into rage. And I said, what's the matter with you? He said, do you realize, and he figured out the exact numbers. That means X number of men die because this doesn't fire at the right moment. It means this occurs. And he showed all of the impact of this. See, he raised the standard. He went to step two. Step two is you got to see it better than it is and set that as your standard. A standard is something you don't go for. It's not a goal. It's something you live, breathe, and find a way to get to no matter what. If there isn't a way, a leader makes the way. And every one of us in our lives have done this at times. I know you have. There are things in your life, if you were being fair to yourself, that seem difficult or impossible at times, with your kids, with your career, with your business, with your body. And there have been moments in every human being's life where you really tapped into a different level of focus or commitment or standard. And you found a way. It wasn't a should for you, it was a must, and you made it happen. Just want to make my point so you'd hear it. Is there a difference between should and must for you, yes or no? You better believe there is. So when that standard is a must for you, you're going to find the way. So if you see it as it is, but not worse than it is, if you see it better than it is and you bring a vision, in the Bible it says, without a vision, people perish. Regardless of your religion, there's a truth in that statement. And finally, the third key here is, once you see it better than it is, make it that way. You got to take massive action. You got to be resourceful. You got to find the way to make it you want it. So this weekend, first thing we're going to do after a while is you're going to get real clear about how is it really? How is your relationship really? How is your body really? How is your career really? How are your finances really? How are you really spiritually? Regardless of religion, I'm not here to preach to you. My belief is whatever you believe in religiously, you got to practice it or you won't be happy. You got it. You got to honor what you believe is most important, what you believe is most important. But where is it really? Not what you've been telling yourself so you can feel okay. And by the way, you're probably doing better than most people around, because the people who need this kind of show, need this kind of a program, need this kind of an event, need this kind of exercise, rarely show up for it. Isn't it true? So I know and I honor who you already are, but you wouldn't have come here unless all of us in this room, as different as we are, and you can look around, you see every gender, race, probably religion, belief structure in this room. The one thing I bet we have in common is we won't settle. How many came because you want more? How many came because you want more? Say I. Oh, say I. So whatever that more is that you